Recruit Man here with another GPU testing video. What I want to go over is I have a problem with the mining calculators, Watttomine and hashrate.no. They're kind of misleading, even though I'm not sure they're intentionally misleading. If you look at their profitability, it's a generic number with a generic expected power usage, and you plug in your electricity costs and it tells you what's profitable. Now, I think it's misleading. Number one, as we all know, the price changes daily, but that's not even what I'm talking about. I think a lot of them assume a certain power usage, which all models of GPUs are not created equally. I have two test benches that I've been running a lot of tests on, and I think most people don't even have proper wall meters which to test on, which will give you the actual power readings. So what I want to do today is I want to quickly go over, my big beef with the hash rate calculators, and then I'm going to test four GPUs. I'm going to test a 6800 because I already have it on here, and I did just release a video on it. And then I'm going to test a 3070, and basically what I want to show is I want to show that the numbers don't match. And I think it's critically important in this day and age of mining that you generate your own numbers, and I'm telling you, I think the calc numbers and your actual numbers are off so much that you could be mining at a loss when you think you're making money. Now, for some people that's not an issue, but I think for a lot of people it could very well be an issue because you have to figure out if you want to pay your power, how much of your power you want to self-fund, and how much you want to try to sell coins for, and when to sell the coins to pay it. So, I'll have this, I'm going to probably test them for about an hour or two each. I'm not going to go crazy. I just want to get a quick number generation and put them in the actual calculators to show the difference between the generic numbers and your own calculated number. So I'll be back with that in a little bit. The first GPU I want to test is 6800, and the first coin I want to look at is one I just got done testing, Caspa. If you look at the Caspa hash rate, they're saying you get about 734 mega hash, and then you're at about 125 watts for negative 2 cents profit. So if you compare Kiwi Crypto's Ultimate 6000 series comparison, which is just a good baseline, you see the 6800 on Caspa is getting about 545 mega hash at about, he says 70 watts. I'm assuming that's the software. So seeing that, let's go check my GPU at the miner and let's see what it's getting right now. You can see I had to access it through the web GUI. I am getting about 73 watts at the software and about 564 mega hash. Now let's check these settings. Let's check the actual power consumption at the wall. So checking the actual power consumption at the wall, it is about 35 watts off, so we're showing about 104 watts. So we're going to go ahead and put this in the calculator. We're going to see how much it differs from what we were given on hashrate.no. All right, so when we put the Caspa numbers in at 562 mega hash at 100 watts, we actually get the negative 2 cents a day right now, which is actually the same as what it's showing over here. However, I would kind of argue that this is also, while it's close, I think it's a little misleading because I think if they're going with 125 watts for 700 mega hash, I don't think that's at the wall. So my guess would be, now this is just based on how Hive never reports their wattage correctly, I would be guessing you would be looking at about 160 watts based on my experience with the difference between the readings of the wall and the readings in the software, which at 160 watts would give you a negative 18 cents profit. Now, this isn't me saying that they are 100% wrong, but it's based on my settings and based off corroborating with another YouTuber who's been able to get pretty good efficiency settings with Caspa. So, and this is also based off the fact that I actually think that their power readings are wrong. But let's just assume that maybe their power readings are actually correct, and let's actually do 125, and let's calculate it. So it's still negative 8 cents. So that is still a 6 cents. That is still a 6 cents difference. So I think that is worth noting that while Caspa is close, it is still incorrect. And I think negative 2 cents versus negative 8 cents is kind of a big deal. I mean, you're looking at about 8 or 9%. And then assuming that they're wrong and it's actually closer to about 160 hash, which again, going off Kiwi Crypto Miner 6800 settings for Caspa, as it clearly shows that you're getting about 544 mega hash with 69 watts in the software, which would make it more at the wall. It kind of corroborates the fact that, in my opinion, the calculator is not registering the correct watts at the wall, but using the software watts. Again, this is just me making assumptions with the information that I have at hand to call out the fact that I think the Caspa profitability calculator is wrong. Okay, now let's move on to Nexa. If you look, it says 40.92 mega hash at 129 watts, and you're losing 2 cents a day. So let's go check out Kiwi Crypto Miner's overclocks for Nexa. So if you look here, he has the Sapphire 6800, which is a little different than the reference one, which would make me believe that I would use a little more power, because as I stated before, the reference models are generally more power hungry, and that's all I own. So that's what I'll be able to test. So we put his same exact numbers in. So let's move to the wall, let's move to the GUI and then to the wall to see our actual settings. All right, as you can see, the 6800 is getting 30.89 mega hash at 71 watts in the GUI. So let's see what it's actually getting in the wall. So we're just putting our hand on the back of it, make sure it's actually mining. It is. It's hot. Let's check the power usage at the wall. Showing about 94 watts at the wall. So let's put this into the hashrate.no calculator and match it up with their numbers and see what we get. All right, so if we put the Nexa numbers in, 31.89, you can't see it, 31.89 at 95 watts, we're looking at negative 2 cents profit. Now, if you match Nexa's number over here, it's also negative 2 cents profit. However, I know that getting 40 mega hash, you're using way more than 129 watts. So taking into account the fact that all the readings at the meter are always incorrect, let's go back and assume that they're off by about 60 watts. So let's be conservative and let's say it's only 40 watts. So let's go with 40 mega hash at 170 watts, which I personally know it's about 200 watts from what I've been doing, but that's not to say that they may be more efficient than me. So you're looking at negative 16 cents profit. Now let's say somehow that they're only 30 watts less, which I really don't think that's true, but let's just take it into consideration. Then you're still at negative 13 cents, which is a big difference from negative 2 cents. I mean, you're looking at, a negative 11 cents difference. So, to be transparent, this is making the assumption that they don't understand that AMD power readings and at the wall and at the software are different. So let's try it with an Nvidia 30 series. Let's try the 3070. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my first test bench, and I'm going to take the 3070 out, and I'm going to plug it into the current bench that I'm using, and we're going to check out some quick comparisons. Okay guys, let's take a look at the 3070. Now I'm mining Nexa with all my Nvidia GPUs. I am mining Nexa plus Zill, but I just want to go over the straight Nexa numbers here because it will be easy to compare. Now the biggest thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at how accurate this table is from my numbers. Now I'm going to bring up Kiwi Crypto Mine right here. His settings are a little different than mine, as I run a little bit higher on the power to get a little bit more hash. But I just want you to have these as a baseline to compare them to the hashrate.no Nexa baseline. So they're saying you're getting about 61 mega hash at 140 watts, and you're getting a profit of 8 cents and 24-hour profit of 11 cents. You can see the 3070 is on its bench. Thankfully, I can actually insert the HDMI cable so I can see the monitor right here, so I don't have to use the GUI. The first setting I used was I dropped the power to 100 watts. So it's showing 53 mega hash, 45 at the pool side, and it's showing 95 watts at the GUI. On the web interface. So let's see what it looks like actually on the wall. So you can see it's 118 watts. So the power does not equal the power usage, and the wall does not equal the software. So knowing that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the settings on hashrate.no, and I'm going to put them exactly in the miner. Put them exactly in my 3070 right here, and see what the actual power usage is, and compare that actual number to what they're saying on their website. So now that we established a baseline that the 3070 power on the web interface and on the power reading in the wall does not match, let's take the numbers that hashrate.io has given us, which I have right here. I'm getting about 62 mega hash, about 125 watts, 126 watts of the web GUI. Now in Hive, I put in 130 watts power level max to match hash rate settings, but let's see what I'm actually getting at the wall. So in reality, I'm actually getting 154 watts. So let's take that data, the 154 watts that I'm getting, and let's put it in the hashrate.nos custom calculator, and let's see what the difference from what they're saying to what I'm actually showing is. Okay, so now we can see that I put the actual wattage and the actual mega hash that I'm getting, and you can see my profit is half of what they're saying. So here's what I'm getting, and here's where they're saying for the last 24 hours. So it is about half, maybe a little bit less, like 40% if we're really splitting hairs. Now I will say that you can actually click on their overclocks right here, and it will show you what they're getting. But you know, I have my settings for Regal Miner, and mine are more efficient than theirs. I promise you that. As my power level is way lower, and my mem clock is the same, and my core clock is a little lower, but it's not going to equate to this much of a power difference. So what I'm trying to say is that these mining calculators are not accurate. And now I'm not saying it's their fault. Maybe their settings work on one GPU, or you know, I'm not going to even try to speculate. I'm not here saying they're misleading you. What I'm here saying is that in conclusion, after testing an AMD GPU and an Nvidia GPU, and I could go all day testing different algorithms, but I think these brief tests that I did get the job done. I think it's very, very important to understand that for you to get the best, most accurate results for you, you need to have a test bench, or you need to have a way to get the actual power meter from the wall, whether it's a test bench, or if you have a meter box, or you have a power meter into the wall like I do in all of my 240 volt PDUs in my shed. But even for something like that, you have to make sure that only one rig is plugged in, so you get the actual correct reading, not just the reading from all of your rigs put together, which I do have one PDU that is plugged into one rig where I can actually get a full power reading of just a 3070 rig. So anyway, I hope this video helps, and what I'm trying to say is, whereas having a test bench wasn't that important before with ETH, where it was just set it and forget it, now I think it is more important than ever to have your own bench and to be able to draw your own numbers so that you can figure out profitability. These mining calculators no longer work as an umbrella. Now, maybe you can look at it and try to gauge a little bit, but as I've just shown right here, I've got numbers that were 30 to 50% off of the current profitability. So I don't even know if I would use them as a gauge. I think the best thing for you to do is, if you want to mine something, you need to put one of your GPUs on a bench and you need to test it for yourself. And that is one of the big reasons that I reestablished the benches in the garage, and I'm using them for what I'm using them for. So anyway, guys, I really hope this video helps. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. I know your time is valuable. Please like and subscribe for more mining content. And if you think I did anything wrong, or you think I could do something better on a test like this, because I am new to GPU testing, you know, I don't test like Seb or like Kiwi Crypto or like MineSum or any of these other great crypto YouTubers, which I'll give them a follow. I'm kind of new to this testing, and but it's definitely helped, and I've learned a lot. So again, please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed. Croupman out.